Have you ever been gaming or working online classes and your internet service constantly gets interrupted? First Nations Fiber is about to ensure that just won't happen again. Get ready for high speed at a new level. Click on fnfiber.com and sign up today. First Nations Fiber, empowering people through connectivity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beading Table with your host, Degoriakwa Margaret Standup, and myself, Leith Makiwa. We are taping this evening. It's a Friday. We're all excited for the weekend to come, or even the next 2 hours when we get to go home after this taping of the podcast. Degoriakwa, what is on the agenda for this weekend, if anything?
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing's on the agenda.
I'm looking forward to it. I had not a hard week, just a long week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm like exhausted. Like, so yeah, I'm looking forward to just bumming around. I want to actually just clean my house because I feel like it's been neglected and just chill out.
Over the holidays, do you host people at your house? Or? No, you don't. You go other places.
Yeah, which I feel like a bad child for that, but I don't because of we don't have, I guess I could, but like my kitchen, my table is like, I got 4 chairs, like it's,
bare bones. I mean,
Yeah.
bare bones in the sense that you don't have multiples of things, but you have enough for your
for
family.
us, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I could probably makeshift and.
Well,
pop
I
up
know
a
where there's a
table
few
or two.
tables, a few chairs that I've borrowed over the past years. I borrowed the chairs from Traditions for I don't host Christmas. I think I've done that once. Like held something for the holidays once. But we usually go, my brothers and I usually just pick up some chairs to bring over.
Yeah.
That's part of my contribution.
Yeah, we usually do like my mother's or my mother-in-law's kind of thing. Like we're always back and forth somewhere.
You mean during that day?
Yeah. Just depends on who's cooking, or they both end up cooking every year, even though if my mother will be like, I'm not cooking this year, or she ends up cooking anyways. So yeah. So we're always back and forth.
Have you ever made a turkey?
Yeah. So it was like,
Was it raw or was it no?
It was like one of those bullshit things that happen. Like I just did it. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna try. It was a long time ago. I didn't ask for any help. I didn't ask anybody. I just like threw it in whatever. I didn't know about all the shit that's
the bag and everything.
Yeah. So that kind of got cooked inside, and I didn't know at the time if like it was edible after that. And
Oh, you mean the like the whole
because the bag's plastic too. So I think we ended up like, it wasn't a massive turkey, thank God. It was like just something small. But it freaked me out, and then I was like, I can't serve that. I don't know, and I ended up like, it was like half raw, like I didn't fully cook it, and I think we ended
after you realize somehow, yeah.
And I think I ended up throwing it out. So that was my only
attempt.
And I've never after that. Like I just don't. I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun.
Wow. Well, hey, it's always a first, right? And then hopefully it's easier sailing after that.
Yeah, if I ever decide.
If you ever have to make one, yeah. But does your family like turkey? Like, are your like Greg and your kids? Do they like turkey?
Yeah, they'll eat it. Like, yeah. Everyone will eat it. Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of questions for the podcast today, and I guess a few things to talk about. Not very controversial, I don't think. Well, there could be a controversial one, but we'll get into that later. But first and foremost, there are just a few little housekeeping things I wanted to talk about, just because I don't know if there's any artists who are maybe in the mood to challenge themselves or put themselves out there, but there has been a call out for artists for the upcoming Haudenosaunee art show, which is at Ganondagan. And the theme this year is peace. They're having later on, I believe in the year 2026, they're having an exhibit commemorating or highlighting a very particular time that happened. And I don't know exactly what the actual details are because I didn't write that on my book, but I think it has to do with some kind of war of some type. And that's going to sound totally like ignorant and like I don't know nothing, but I don't really know about it. So I'm not really going to go explain too much about that. But I wanted to highlight that just because it's a show that is like specifically a Haudenosaunee show, I believe. I think anybody can apply. Like I said, the theme is peace, but It's at the Ganondagan Museum, and it is taking place April 8th to the 11th. And the application deadline is February 20th, 2025. And I want to highlight it because it's a show that both Degaro Hyakwa and I both have participated in the past. And it is one that you have to be juried into. And in the scale from, like, say, Santa Fe to Ganondagan, it's on the smaller scale. And I think it really gives artists an opportunity to, like, get their feet wet in terms of, like, the art show world. And so did you have anything to say about maybe your experience, just something that you highlighted from then?
No.
Oh my goodness. This lady won some ribbons and then she has nothing good to say. Well,
My brain is
wah,
totally
wah,
off.
wah.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. That was that my first? I can't even remember right now. No, I don't think it was. Anyways,
We did an art show in Six Nations many moons ago, but this is like the
That was a
first
juried
jury.
though, eh?
This one
Yeah.
is the first juried show.
yeah. So I can't remember off the top of my head right now. My brain is like totally fried. But I did enjoy it. That's where I won my first gold star. I got first place there.
Yes.
So that was real great. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole feel of it and like getting to see and meet people and
Mhm.
like, everything's on Instagram kind of thing. Like, all these people, all these artists, you see other people's lives through social media.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to be there and actually like, oh my God, these are all real people. Like, so that was fun. But yeah, I enjoyed that. The show.
Yeah. So like I said, the deadline for that is February 20th, 2026. I think I said 2025. Excuse me if I made a mistake on that one. And if you want, you can see at the ganondagan.org website for more details regarding that show. Then today, or this week anyway, the Ohio second annual art market was posted. And that is taking place. The jury for the competition is taking place March. It's May 15th, and then the art show is on the 16th. And the deadline to apply there is March 1st. And people will be notified if they're accepted into that show on March 10th. Now, I want to say that I have tried to check out the application form, and unfortunately, at this moment, it does not show that there's a form there. So I will be reaching out to them and letting them know that the form is not attached so that people can, get on after. Mind you, there are like 3 months left, I guess, until the actual deadline. But for those who are eager beavers, you might want to be.
Well, yeah. 3 months ain't nothing when you're trying to make
stuff. So those are two shows that are really good opportunities for Haudenosaunee and other Indigenous artists to participate in, and like I said, to try your chance, or not even just your chance, but just to like put yourself out there, and see what it's like and how it is. And
I'd like to do that one. I was thinking of that one too.
The Ohio one?
Yeah, the only for us on this side of the land, it's far for me to drive.
Oh, when I did it that 2 years ago, I was in Oneida, and it was only a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, no, that's the only drawback for me, anyways, is that drive. Like, it's kind of far. So
yeah. Well, thankfully it's May, so it's not like in the winter time. So it's like good because you're not going to go through that belt there, that snow belt. So
yes, but yeah, that was one I was thinking of maybe looking into.
Yeah, I like that one. It was nice, and that's at the Seneca Casino there. Mm-hmm. So that's good. So I would say for anyone who's interested in applying, this is something that I do is I book my accommodation right away before I even know I get in, just because usually most hotels you have the opportunity to cancel. And that way, if you don't get in, then you can cancel your room. But if you get in, then you already have your accommodation. So it's a lot. It might be a little bit money you got to give up front, but you'll like it because you'll be either on site or at least near site. And I always suggest, or maybe when you're going to your first show, to try to stay if they can. Like if it's at I've gone to the Hard Rock for the Cherokee Art Market, and this Ohio is at the Seneca Casino. If you have the opportunity to stay at the actual venue for their first time, it's a good opportunity because then you can go back and forth to your room. Like if you have somebody you're going with, or maybe if you have kids who you're taking because you have to bring your children, then it's a way for them to have readily access to where they're going or where you're staying, rather than having to drive so far and then come back to get you because you're at the show. And it just makes things a lot easier that way. So if you can, that's what I encourage artists to do, is to to stay at the venue or very close to, so that it's easier. And then I wanted to announce, and I think I announced it the last podcast, but I'm not really sure, but we are having, Ganawage is hosting the Haudenosaunee Beadwork Conference. And it is dated now. We've set a date. So it's September 18, 19, and 20. So it starts on a Friday night, which would be like the registration. Not necessarily a registration, but when you, like a check-in basically, because before the actual conference, you have to register. But the check-in on the Friday evening, and then the Saturday, and then half the day Sunday are the days when the actual conference takes place. So it's going to be hosted here. It's the first time Ganawage is hosting it. We're pretty excited. There's a group of some local beaders and I who are getting together to figure that out. It should be a packed weekend event. Of course, Ganawage likes to host people with delicious foods and whatnot. And so, yeah, and so that's happening. More info to come when registration's open and all that other kind of stuff. But just to put it in people's ear that, it's going to be taking place the weekend of September 18th, 19th, and 20th. So that's a Haudenosaunee Beadwork Conference hosted here in Ganawage. Margaret, have you ever gone to a Haudenosaunee Beadwork Conference?
No.
No? Well, hopefully you register and you can get in.
I was just going to ask, do I have to register for here? But yeah, obviously. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we have to register. But you know what, Margaret? We're slated to be doing a live
Semi-live.
No, we're going to do a live, but record a podcast there.
Yay!
Which means we're going to be reaching out to some of the people who hopefully will find out who's going, some superstars, some beadwork superstars to come and maybe talk to us on the Beading podcast, which will be live in front of a
live
studio audience, which is a first for us. And it's kind of like daunting, but we have a good 9 months to think about it. I think 9 months. Yeah, 9 months to think about it. And hopefully it goes off without a hitch. We already got approval from our
producer people.
Not our producer people. He's our
boss.
The boss, our big boss that we're able to take it on the road. It should be interesting. So yeah, so we're going to do that. And hopefully we don't swear too much. We don't hurt nobody's feelings. But you know what? Sometimes that happens. We're talking at the Beading Table. And at the Beading Table, there's lots to go on. And so it should be interesting. So yeah. So we want to put that out there that if you're looking to see us in person live, better register. Imagine. See us live and in person at the Beading Conference, the Haudenosaunee Beadwork Conference in Ganawage. So yeah, so that should be interesting, and it should be full of different people who are going to be speaking about different things, and yeah, it should be nice.
It'll be a fun time.
Did you want to talk about anything in particular before we get on to the questions from our adoring fans?
No. I'm going to be all no.
No. Well, I want to try to just get your perspective before we get into those one big, very large question. But I wanted to ask you this question. Because we're reaching the more, time to be like sitting at home, not sitting at home, but more like in our I guess, resting stage, in the sense that with the winter coming and that kind of weather, people tend to not be on the go as much. And some people are on the go with little kids doing all kinds of stuff. But I wanted to ask you, how do you balance your time beadworking or in your studio with other commitments, such as maybe a job or your family or administration of different types? How do you find balance?
I don't. I just run myself into the ground. That's all. That's pretty much how I function. Right now, I'm feeling it to the max. I have about another week of the store being open, maybe week and a half-ish. And I really want it to, I still am going to, I want to get kits out and all of these things. So I'm trying to get those done. But it's my mother's 80th birthday next week.
Ooh.
Yes. And
happy birthday, Geraldine.
Yes. So she's been asking me for moccasins forever. And so I feel like it's her 80th birthday. She'll slap me if I don't have them. Nah. So I want to have that ready for her birthday. So I'm trying to get that going. I'm trying to do stuff for the store. I'm trying to just live my life. On top of my daughter's stuff, all of her medical stuff going on. And so, yeah, it's, I don't know.
So how far are you on, in the completion stage of your,
the
moccasins?
Well, the beadwork is all done. Well, the vamps are all done. But I also want to put a beaded cuff
Would you ever just do a leather for now and then bead?
It might get there.
Yeah, because
might get to that. But I started them yesterday, the moccasins. Just
you mean sewing it up?
Yeah, I sewed them up and all that, and they were trash. I don't know.
Is that the one that you posted?
No,
you didn't post like the full moccasin, but you posted like the leather, and then you had like the pattern on it. Is that what you posted?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I was just starting to cut that out and whatever. Yeah, my mother's stuff. But I know I just sewed it up last night, and the puckers just didn't jive.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I was doing. I made them like too tight. Like they were way too tight. Like I don't even go that high. Like with my, you know how it goes with the markings.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I was like, what the hell? And so, anyways, I didn't like them. I took them apart, but so here's another funny little thing. So Doug and I always talk about it. Like there's certain leather, like if you're not using hide, like good old smoked hide or whatever, like like whatever the regular deer hide that's processed and all that. So sometimes if it's too thin or it's the texture or what, we call it the ball sack.
The ball sack?
Yeah.
What happens?
Like, because
it stretches?
Yeah, I don't know. It gets all fucking wrinkly looking.
Oh,
it gets
wrinkly.
all, like, nasty.
So don't be buying the ball sack leather, I guess, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So, like, the leather that I have, though, is the coloring is so nice. So now I'm like, this better not turn into a ball sack. So, anyways, I was, but because I kind of was worried about it because it's not thin, the leather, but it felt like a little bit more pliable than the other ones that I normally use. So I tried to put another little bit of a stabilizer inside before my whatever the liner. So I put an extra little thing, and it just didn't work. Like the whole thing was a dumb idea, whatever. So yeah, I had to this morning. I just left it last night because I was too tired. I was like, I'm not dealing with this.
Do you think it was because it was late at night? Like,
Yeah. I was exhausted yesterday. I was
you did it anyway?
Not at home. Like we had a craft night with my friends, which was so nice just to get together and chill out. But not, you know how it goes. Like
you're telling stories, you may have missed
I wasn't like totally focused. I wasn't paying attention and whatever. So, but yeah, the thing that I tried to do didn't work. So I had to rip it. Luckily, the glue let off too because I had like secured it, so it all let off, and I didn't have to like toss out the leather or anything. So, anyways, I redid it today, and there's no ball sack. It looks good. Now
we're gonna be all checking.
Yeah, so
that's interesting. I never heard that. Obviously, but I don't. I'd have to actually see it, I guess.
I don't even
and see how they compare. If that analogy is the same, if that analogy stands true. No.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness. So yeah. So Anyway, maybe we've just coined. Maybe you and Doug Wahawi just coined a new phrase.
Ball sack leather. Oh God.
Oh my goodness. It must be because it stretches, I would assume.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's interesting.
It's like the texture, and it might be even just the way it's like processed. Sometimes it's like you could even see it. Sometimes some parts are like nice and smooth, and
I wonder if you took now I got a question. So if it's in that state, the ball sack state,
yeah,
could you? I'm assuming you put like some kind of fabric behind it or something so it doesn't stretch.
Yeah.
Could you take that fabric out and re-glue it, and would it stretch it back? Like would it, if you smoothed it out over the new like the fabric, would it go back? Like would it like maybe get the wrinkles out, or it doesn't? It just stays in that strange.
It's just the surface texture. It's like, how it.
Oh, I know what you mean. It's that commercial tan that. Yes, I know what you mean. Yes,
it looks like wrinkles.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So we had a question from Yunita Hawi, and she said I could say her name. So
we're calling you out.
We're calling you out. She goes, I don't care if I call it. I think I even wrote that. I don't care if you call me out. That's what she wrote at the bottom of her question. So, I mean, this is a question. Some of it is, well, I think it's probably more for me than it is for you, but I guess I'll just go into it. So she asked, I was at your store one night when your ladies were beading.
Ladies.
And I was we had talked about we were starting talking about markets or whatever. And so she had a question, and she said, what is it like to go to the Santa Fe Indian market? And so I guess it's a very large scale market that you have to be juried into, which happens at least, I believe it's in January. I think the applications go out, maybe towards the end of this year. Oh my goodness, it is like
No.
the end of the month of December. So yeah, I believe it's like in the month of January, the applications come out. And I think before the Heard Museum, which is in March, your applications are due. So you have to apply. And you only find out, I believe, usually in April, May. Yeah, that time you find out if you're accepted into the market. That market is a very large scale in the sense there's like 1,000 artists, if not a little bit less than 1,000, who are selected to be in that market. She asked some very specific questions: a hotel, flight, table, booth, etc. So in Santa Fe, it's a very expensive place to go. So lodging is expensive, and I would suggest those who are even thinking about applying, or those who have applied before and think they would get in, I would say to book your accommodations now if you haven't already. I book mine in August while I'm there for the next year, just because I can cancel if I need to. Flights, I never book my flight until I actually get accepted, because sometimes it's it's not easy to transfer sometimes, and it's a hassle, but hotels and other accommodation is a lot easier. So I do my flights as soon as I find out if I get in. The table and the booth, there are various sizes and how much it costs. So you can have a full like 10 by 10 spot or a 3 by 6 spot. It just really depends on how many pieces you have to display and how much space that you need. So it runs in the hundreds, and everything is in American. So just be aware of that. And American money as of yesterday was almost like it was like 40 cents on the dollar. So it gets pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then she also asked about the Ohio art market and if it's expensive to go there. And I think I would normally say no, but if you're going to America, it's expensive.
Yeah. America.
You should keep that in mind. And, like the most expensive thing is accommodation, and whether you like eating, and also like people usually shop when they're in the States. So if you're into that, then like that's also going to be part of a cost you think of. Also, like in Santa Fe, it's expensive because you have to pay every day for your food. Like that's the thing. Like if you're eating out, if you're at a hotel, I usually stay at Airbnb, and so I cut the cost and I buy groceries or whatnot, and it seems to be a little bit easier. But you also remember where you're at. Like you're at a place that has exquisite jewelry, different things. You're at the actual market if you have a chance to look.
Thinking about the food, I was like, oh,
excellent Mexican food, and it's not always like. I don't want to say it's super expensive. Depending again, like where you eat, just like anywhere, the price will go up. But you're going to a place that has things that you might not see normally. Like you might not see a lot of the artists and the art pieces there, even the jewelry, the turquoise and all those things. Mm-hmm. So you might want to take that into account. She asked, so the Hilo market also, like I said earlier, maybe booking accommodation in advance, and also taking into account that you have to drive there and it's 6 hours. You got to take that wear and tear in your vehicle and all that kind of jazz. She had asked, do you need professional photos or artistry pictures? So artistry pictures are the ones that are like out by the tree stumps and all that kind of jazz. No, you don't want that. No. You want to have plain background, gray, white, black, they suggest, and just the art piece in good lighting, and that's it. And you can have your artsy ones for like your social.
Yeah, your own stuff.
Instagram and all that kind of jazz, social media. But when you're applying to the art markets, depending on what platform they use, because some people use a platform which is called, like, I can't remember off the top of my head what the platforms are, but some places use a platform where you just upload your images, and then you can write all the details that you need about these pieces you're submitting, and then you can just, not to say recycle, but reuse those pictures, provided they fall within the date that you're allowed to go back into your artistry. So some of them are like 2 years, like your pieces that you submit to be juried in.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
not necessarily the pieces you're going to be taking need to be, can only be 2 years old. Sometimes maybe 3, but mainly it's 2 years.
And
but
some, just to add to, some markets require photos of what is actually being brought, and not really a whole backlog of your work. They want to see what's coming.
They want 3 things, and the 3 or 4 things, and it has to be what you're going to be juried into. So like if you're doing baskets, you're not going to send pottery photos, and vice versa. So you want to do that. And
I feel like Ganondaganda when we did it had to be what was actually being brought. It wasn't.
Yes, so that's a different one. Ganondagan. Ohio is also different. Ohio has, I don't believe they use a platform, or maybe they do. I'm not really sure, but I know when I had applied 2 years ago, they didn't have a platform. You just had to send them to like an email address or whatnot, like stuff like that. You have to take into account though that sometimes you have to have the JPEG has to be a certain size and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah,
which is difficult for me. So I
don't
have
know
to
how
always like
do all that stuff either.
And I always forget year to year, so whatever. So when I use these platforms that they use, I just upload them and I can use like the same 3 photos for like 5 different shows if I needed to, So there's that. So we kind of covered that in terms of like what images you need to submit. So here is something interesting. She asked about the prices and if we were comfortable talking about it. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not comfortable talking about prices, so I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah. So that's that. And then she had asked how much is added to a winner of a ribbon piece. I think for me, I don't necessarily charge extra. I charge what I want to charge, and that's what it is. And it seems to be icing on the cake. I'm not sure how other artists do that. But yeah, I price my stuff how I feel. And then if they sell, they sell. If they don't sell, well, then somebody will buy it because I'm not changing my price. So yeah, so that's that.
For me, I had, mind you, it was the first and only, I guess, but the pieces that won in Ganondagan, first I set them too damn low to start. And then once it won first place, I marked it up. So they won, they get the ribbon like you get, we got few ribbons. So the new owner now has, she has the ribbon too with it and everything. So yeah, there was a charge for that.
So yeah, so it's all personal preference. The same thing with how much you price them for anyway. So there's that. So Yunita Howie, I hope that answers your questions. And yeah, that's.
Oh, and just to add to that, just like a little bit more vague, like market prices and community prices are different. When you go to a market, things are going to be a lot more than what you would be selling in traditions. You know what I mean? Like the prices are significantly different sometimes. So, and
you have to take into account too that you're paying for your hotel, your flight, your table. You're paying for the actual not registration cost, but like the booth cost too, because they have a booth price there, and I want to say it's hundreds of American dollars. So if anything, you would price according to that too if you needed to.
Yeah, because
the idea is that you would want to sell, I guess, so that you can make up the difference of your actual travel there. Like, I don't think people would want to go into debt in that in that regard. So yeah, so there's those things to take into account, and yeah, so that's that. So we had another question from another listener, and it says, "Do you have a limit do you have a limit for when you're taking orders? For example, like 3 orders at a time, or less, or more? Do you have a limit, or?"
I think it depends on the artists themselves. Like,
so do you have a limit? Like if you
it's 0.
Well, there you go, listener. It's 0 for Margaret.
No, I don't know. It depends. It depends on what's going on. Depends on what's time frames. I'm not going to be like, okay, you need it next month. Let me take 5 orders. Like, and it's everyone individually and the size of the order. Like somebody's going to ask for a full set, like I need months for that kind of jazz. So
not like me who says I'm not taking any orders and I have 3 for next year. Full sets, 3 women, 3 young ladies.
No. Yeah.
So I guess mine is 3. I'll take 3 because 2 years ago I had 3.
I think like the most for grad that I've ever taken on were about 5. Like that, like 3 full sets and then say moccasins and medallions kind of thing. Which was ridiculous. Like even I had it like a year ahead of time because I don't start it a year ahead of time as much as I am like, I have time. I start now basically around like Christmas-ish, and that's you're already behind. Yeah. Like way behind if you have that many orders. So unless you're a trained professional and you know how to freaking work under pressure. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's everyone's to each their own type of thing. So
this year, what I did is, because Grant Jonathan was here in Ganawaga this past weekend, which would be the weekend of December 6th, I believe it was. And he came and he had all his wares. He had his velvets and he also had some antique beadwork. And so I bought what did I buy? I bought a bag. So I bought a bag that was in, I would say, like mint condition, with the exception of the bias on the sides, like was coming off. So what I did is I just took the whole thing apart. I'm going to refurbish it, not repurpose it. It's called rework that. Put some more bias on. I think I have to buy bias because I didn't have any that I thought was really good. And I'm going to make my youngest son graduates from grade 6 next year. And that's one of the outfits that's one outfit plus the other 3 that I have to do, but I don't count his because I can start his now. And I'm going to just make him a bandolier bag. And thankfully, he doesn't mind, like, using those things. And I find it kind of also like quaint and interesting and different to, if you have stuff that you can like repurpose or rework that way, old antique things, and you should do it because, sometimes sometimes we have all these beautiful things and we don't use them just because like we're afraid sometimes to get it dirty. But I mean, obviously if it's like white velvet, like your daughter, cream velvet, then you don't want to be using it just any old time. But like I have other children who have other things too that maybe my son might use, and I'll save all my like super beading Ista skills for when he graduates from grade 11 because that'll be his that'll be my last child.
Oh, in school
who will graduate. So yeah, so I did that this weekend. Okay, here's another question. Get your boots on and get ready. What pieces of beadwork have been the most meaningful for you to create, and why?
Oh my God.
Or what pieces of beadwork have been most meaningful for you to create, and why?
So I have a few answers to that. So it's not like nice and happy jolly, but I've had to do a few burial sets. But those I find they're obviously it's very heavy. And it's usually not for somebody, like I would never do it unless I had to, like for my own family. Well, no, I would do it for my family, but I mean, like it's harder to do if it was your own family. But I've done it for other people in the community and stuff like that who have, you just don't know sometimes, But not that I enjoy them, but I find them more meaningful because it's for, it's just to help with the families. It's just to try to take some pressure off of what they're going through and things like that. So I even have a process, just trying to think of that person and like put all that energy into like their last pieces and stuff like that. So those are very meaningful to me in that sense. I don't charge for those kind of things. I've talked about this before. So that's, that's a gift I can give. So I gift those pieces to the families and things like that. So that's one answer. The other, I don't know. Other than that, meaningful, I don't know. I don't know. I can't really think. Like, yeah, my kids' graduation stuff and all of that, but it's, I don't know if here's another crazy, but I find it hard actually to do stuff for my own family because I find there's pressure on it.
What do you mean pressure?
Like graduation, when you are the child of a beadworker, I feel like everyone's going to be like, oh my God, what's their kids wearing? That kind of thing. Yeah. Like
I've never thought of it that way.
And people do, like, people sometimes have been like, oh, well, I can't wait to see what you're going to do for your kids. And I was like, oh shit, the hell up. Now I got to do something nice. Like, so I find sometimes it puts pressure on you, like, oh my God. Like, so I don't know. That's kind of scary, but and I don't know though. Yeah. Anyways,
see, for me, it's interesting because for my 2 sons who graduated, actually for all my sons, minus Dahawanasa right now, who hasn't graduated yet from anywhere. But I had, I have 2 other sons. So I had gone to 4 graduations. Minus 1, sorry, because 1 was homeschooled during the grade 6. So great. I had 1 grade 6 and had 2 high school. And what's interesting is that for all my sons, or the 2 sons that had graduated, I mimicked the same kind of design, sometimes like right down to the shape. Oh, sorry, I had 3 graduations because 1 graduated from the near nuts. So I mimicked the shape for all of the kids. Sometimes I even mimicked some of the designs on their elements. And I liked it because it kept them connected. It sounds like crazy. I mean, like they're connected because they're brothers.
To you, yeah.
But it for me, it just had the fluidity that, like, like this was there's like
Their growth.
and also like that they're brothers and that it's grounding in some way. It sounds so crazy, but that's what I think about it as. Like it's grounding. It has the same shape, same elements. And so when Dahawanasa graduates, I'm probably going to try to do the same thing. But it's a little bit different because he's 7 years younger than the one who had just graduated. So by then things might have changed or whatnot, or he might just wear their pieces. I don't know. But I've done that. And I've also done siblings, multiple pairs of siblings. And I've also done it so that there are certain elements that kind of are the same. And then sometimes the parents ask for some things to be the same too. And it seems interesting because some siblings like do the same stuff. So it's like they want the same things kind of on their things. So I've done that before. So that's meaningful. I never thought about to be honest, when I read that question, that did not even come to my mind, the burial sets or the burial things. But when you think about it, when I thought about it when you were talking, yeah, for sure. Like I have certain music, not necessarily songs or nothing, but sometimes like you get in a zone,
you have to be because you
have to be like in a zone, and you kind of like for me, like the last really big pair, like one that I was really zoned out in, and I kind of like put myself in my room because you're also grieving if it's your family, because I've done it for family and very, very, very close friends. So with that being said, I kind of like secluded myself, and I would listen to certain things, not nothing I would normally listen to, but something that caught my eye, and now I can't listen to those songs because it puts you back in that space. But it's just something to zone into, and you kind of like, and for some reason, like you find meaning in things just by happenstance, and so it's just like, no, it's okay. But yeah, so yeah, like now what you talked about that is like, yeah, that was pretty intense sometimes, but
yeah, it's like a heavy thing, but it's I don't know, those are the more so like I'm just remembering in my processes and all that, because it's like in that time you literally have a day sometimes only, you know.
Yeah, you got to be fast. You got to really like.
So it's like
you have
done,
no time for anything else. Yeah.
So, but it's like sometimes you know how that process goes when you have to pick colors, when you have to. If the family is not sure what they want, they'll, you know, sometimes they have like clothing or something prepared. But I found like in one instance, like it was very sudden. So it was just all hands on deck. Like all of our friends were trying to help our friend with a death in her family. And we were just trying to get everything, but nobody had anything ready. Like we didn't know. So I was just sitting there and thinking, like, kind of talking to the person, like, and just like, okay, you pick, guide me, whatever, like just make this process easy and quick, and give me signs for, you know, like if you don't like this color, then
like spill it on the floor. Yeah. But yeah,
so it's things like that, you know, to help the process kind of, you know, as you go. So those are some things that I've done, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a little bit more
juicy.
A little bit juicy. We've talked about this before, I'm sure of it, because if I look back in my book of notes, I'm sure we talked about multiple times. But it's really, it's a never-ending saga, and it always airs its like ugly head all the time, and you can't get away from it because we're just fabulous. Not necessarily Margaret and I, Indigenous artists and the artistry are fabulous. And they're fabulous, and people want to do some of the stuff that people spent decades and generations and their generations of their family members have been doing. And that's really what it's about. It's about like all the artistry and how far back it goes, really, because it's like time immemorial, as they would say, you know. And so this is what it says. It says, how do you feel about the rise of non-Indigenous people engaging with or profiting from Indigenous beadwork styles? Now, I think we have to make a differentiation. People who are just doing it on their own with no cares in the world to any Indigenous artist, and then those Indigenous artists who choose to partner up with other entities who are working on a maybe global scale and using different things that artist might have done specifically. Because that's two different things. Because there's one where one is just doing it and copying or doing whatever, however, profiting, however it is. And then there's another one where the actual artist is actually engaged and working in partnership with a company. So how do you feel about the rise of non-Indigenous people engaging with or profiting from Indigenous beadwork styles? Boo! Right? You think boo?
Well, yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've talked about this. But I don't know, even on large scale. So that's something I don't think we've really. So that kind of even scares me a little bit. Like I was approached years and years ago when my kids were little for a big company to use a design. They wanted me to design something for their wares, and I'm not going to mention the name. Yeah. And I did. I designed a whole bunch of things and whatnot. And it just didn't pan out. Ended up not, like, I wasn't even like really beading to my fullest yet. Like I was only still painting and doing bead. Like it was in that sense. Like, and anyways, it was a rushed thing on top of it. Like I was approached, say whatever, and I had like 3 days to design something type of thing.
Like beadwork design or just drawing?
No, well, it was a drawing, but it would have eventually been like a beadwork design type of thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, it didn't pan out. But it was better, I guess, in a sense, because I was really reluctant because I'm like, well, what does that mean though?
It's like rush, right? Like
it's rush, but what does it mean if I'm giving you this now? You're gonna profit off of my art? Like, how does this work? And I wasn't savvy at the time. I was very young. I was still like maybe early 20s. Like I didn't know how any of this worked, you know. And I didn't even know what questions to ask. Like, how do I know I'm not getting ripped off or some big giant Ungwe company, which it wasn't, was going to...
It wasn't an Ungwe company?
No, not the major part of it. It was being sold as that, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, like how did I know that I wasn't going to get ripped off? Like you're going to pay me what, like $200 for a drawing?
I know, that's how it usually,
Yeah, and then you're going to make millions off of like your products? Like the hell out of here. So anyways, it didn't pan out, thankfully. And like I look back on that, like that was trash. Like, you know, so those are kind of things too. Like you have to, it's like.
You have to be really business savvy to be honest. Yeah. You have to know and how to like.
And like, what's a
advocate for yourself?
What's a good deal? What's not a good deal? Like, or am I selling my soul? Like, are you copywriting? Like, if I put a sky dome on something, are you copywriting that now? And now you feel like you own that, like because it's part of a company, like. You know, so there's a lot of things that you have to really kind of think about, I think, when you, I don't know. I've other than that experience, I've never really done like big companies, but because that, I'm not business savvy in that sense. Like, and honestly, I don't want to take the time to have to sit there and read through all kinds of bullshit. Like, I don't care. So I don't know. But yeah.
Well, I've never had that opportunity, and I don't think I probably would engage in that opportunity either. I don't know. I probably not, because I like what I do. I like my little stuff. Like, you know, I'm going to say, well, lead stuff isn't little, but I mean, like, I'm okay with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's how, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm okay with what I'm doing. And yeah, like you said, you have to be more like business savvy. You have to probably get a lawyer. I mean, I would assume you would want a lawyer if you're doing something.
On a major scale.
On a major scale and
like
whatnot.
Now, if somebody were to approach me, then yeah, I would probably look further into it or, you know, like, honestly, I don't think I'd be interested, but like, those kind of things, you have to take that into account. Like, anyways, yeah, that's my answer.
So I guess how do I feel about the rise of Indigenous people? Whatever.
Oh, I don't even know if we answered that question.
I don't think we did, but I mean, the rise. Well, hopefully, I would say I hope it goes on the decline. I mean, it's not cool. Like, how do you really answer that question? How do you feel? I feel like it would be just chalk it up to another one. You know, like it's just like thanks for keeping the tradition going, in the sense that, you know, that's kind of the cycle of trauma and inflicted rottenness that people have done for so millennia, for so long, for generations. Like, you know, like it's not nice. And who was it? I was talking to somebody and they asked me, so why don't you just like what they say? Why don't you just copyright that then?
Ugh, that's a whole nother spiral.
And I was just like, but it's not mine to copyright.
No.
Like they're not my designs. I've made this. If I was making 10, then I would write the 1 of 10. Like, you know how they sign like prints or whatever or something like that. But I don't necessarily know. I wouldn't copyright something. I would watermark or sign and it. And then we've talked about this, I think almost every podcast. It is what it is. And you take a chance, I guess. And I don't know. But that's like the, oh my goodness, I'm going to say. That is the I was going to say that I'm going to say it. I was going to say the WHITE part of it all, but I'm going to say it's the like consumer kind of like
business.
Like
I don't
that
know.
kind of.
It's the possess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not into that.
That other realm, I guess. And maybe I'm naive to say that, like I shouldn't do that or whatever. I don't know, but I don't want to. Like, I don't want to go down that slippery slope. Like, like then everyone's going to hate you if you book, like I don't need that bullshit. I don't need somebody saying like, oh my God, look at that.
But even like to call, what the hell? We talked about this though before.
So
but
yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, but yeah, I don't know about that stuff. So I don't know. I just think it's bad that people are doing that and they probably should not do that. How does that sound? Does that sound like...
So stop it.
Like this, what do you call that? Are you smarter than a fifth grader? That's my fifth grader answer. They should stop. That's about it.
Don't do that. Okay, thanks.
Don't do that, but yeah. Okay, so here's another one. And I hope you have some more to say because I don't have much to say about this one.
Oh, God.
What is your perspective on beadwork from other nations adopting or selling raised beadwork?
Oh, come on now. We did have this discussion before. We have talked about this. We have.
Now, do we know for a fact that it's only Haudenosaunee people that do raised beadwork? Here's I'm playing the devil advocate.
Yeah.
So like we don't know. I am not versed in all of that kind of jazz. And I'm not going to start to say that I do because I don't. I know
that's true. Yeah.
I know my, what do you call that? My knowledge of things, and that is not in my knowledge realm. So if somebody out there listening knows, then please let us know. Because I've seen other people do what would be more puffy-ish, not raised like Haudenosaunee, but I've seen other people do puffier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I have heard through the grapevine that there are other nations who are doing Haudenosaunee raised beadwork. Now, I'm not sure if it's because it's something that they see while they're out and about or on social media or at other shows or different things like that. But I have seen and have heard whispers and people commenting online. Have I seen it myself firsthand? I can't say that I did. But if somebody showed me and I'd be like, oh, I'd probably put a side eye and put my little 2 cents in as like, oh my God, what are they doing? They're not even from here. They don't even go here, I would say. But hey, that's maybe what I would say, but I wouldn't like try to say that I'm the, what do you call that? The judge and the jury of anything like that, because I'm not.
I think it's in the manner of it, how things are being done though. Sometimes it's like, there was we talked about this before too. There was that incident.
People might not have listened. You should listen to our old podcast because we've been on the air for like almost 4 years of January. So
oh my God.
You better start listening to old podcasts. Yeah. Go back. Can you find them? If you can't find them, let us know so we can maybe make that easier. Just a side note.
Yeah. So there were cases before of, it's all in people's approach and delivery and things like that. So there was a case before where it was I think she was in Wehwe. I can't remember. Yes, I believe she was. Not Haudenosaunee though, claiming a rope stitch or a braided
yes,
stitch.
A braided
whatever,
stitch.
And
yes.
then, like,
that was on the internet.
Going insane every time and then like going on everybody's posts and saying like, that's mine, I invented it and whatever. And I remember having words with her. I ended up like inboxing her, everything. Yeah.
Did she? Is that the one who blocked you that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
She just didn't want to hear it. But then she later came out and apologized. Like,
get out, really? I didn't know that.
Saying,
okay.
Like, yeah. Because like when you have like an entire nation telling you like we've been doing this for thousands of years or however long we've had beads, like you dumbass, like you didn't invent nothing.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's a different approach. If somebody is going in there like guns blazing and doesn't have their research, doesn't know what they're talking about, claiming things, then yeah, like that's gonna get my back up immediately. When people do it, but then give props. Sometimes that's all you need is like an acknowledgement to say, you know what? Yes, this is the type of work that I'm doing right now. I was inspired from these people. This is where, or I learned it from this person or whatever. Like when you're,
or I live in this community, because there's a lot of people who say like live in northern communities and do different art things.
Yeah.
And the people from that community show them and then they know how to do it and then they do it and they say, yeah, props out to whoever or whatever.
Yeah. So when there's like an element of respect there, then yeah, it's a little bit easier to accept it or to digest it or that kind of thing. But not when there's being claim laid when you shouldn't be, that kind of thing. Like that's when I'm not cool with that. Like it bugs me.
I just thought of something when you were talking about laying claim and all that kind of jazz. I thought of like, if you had somebody you had an excellent recipe, an awesome recipe, and it was yours and you cultivated it, and then somebody opened a restaurant and sold that same thing that you had given them the recipe, and they just said, oh, this is my recipe and I've I worked at it for so many years, but meanwhile, it's your like, say, like
Fuck,
hot
go there
biscuits.
and start flipping
See?
their fucking tables. Like,
See, like
get
it's your
outta
hot
here.
biscuit recipe or whatever, or your hot gravy or whatever it is.
Biscuits.
And then that person was like, well, that's what I made. And that's what's wrong with my family, blah, 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 blah. Of course, you would be upset. So it's the same thing. So if somebody comes like guns a-blazing for you, then hopefully, like Margaret said, you have your research done and maybe, and sometimes like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes it's not black and white. Sometimes it's very gray.
Yeah, because then there's the other extreme that where you can't claim everything either. Like,
yeah, because it's not yours to claim. It's a nation's thing.
yeah, so there's like limits to shit. So I don't.
So I'll probably get heat for that, but that's what I just said. It's a nation thing.
No,
you know?
but it is like it gets to a point where you can only do so many things with beads, and
if you
I
look
didn't invent
online,
I didn't start it.
there are some Instagram posts, some Instagram things, or what do you call those? Not platforms, accounts, or whatever, that have people who are beating some kick-ass shit from Czechoslovakia. Not necessarily beating like beautiful items, but maybe they are. But there's some really interesting like stitches and different things that they have. And let me say, they got some rope stitch there. Now, who invented the rope stitch? I don't know. But I know we've been doing it for a while, but we also did quill work. Did we invent that too? It belongs to many nations, different types. So it's a gray area. It's not always black and white. So I don't know. It's hard to really say. It's hard to say. I'm not going to say it.
And that's our nice version, because we'd probably say other things.
You probably say other things, maybe. And you know what?
Doors.
I'm going to be honest. Sometimes it depends on who's doing it. There, I said it. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's what happens. And that's our personal perspective on those kind of things. And if it's not yours, then okie dokie.
Yeah.
Maybe you can write us and tell us yours. And then we would say it on the podcast so we can get all perspectives because, you know, we're the beading table. And a lot of times, like, you know, there's many perspectives. But right now, there's only two of us sitting here and our producer, and he's not talking about anything right now. So, yeah. So there. So there. So on to some more lighter questions.
Yeah, I think they get heavier.
So you had already mentioned this, but one question was, what are you working on at the moment? And you said your mom's moccasins. Anything else outside of that?
No.
Oh, I wanted to ask.
What?
You had a raffle.
Oh!
And you have not picked a winner yet, I'm assuming?
No, I just finished. That was my afternoon. I would just finish putting everything into the system type of thing for the wheel thing.
Yes. So I just wanted to say congratulations to this soon-to-be winner, because when this will have posted, the winner will have already been announced.
Yeah, so I am excited for this one. I've been wanting to do like a big set raffle for a long time, and just whatever. I haven't got into it, so I'm happy about completing this one. But it was a little rough, this process, just because.
Really?
Yeah, I was just struggling with that color.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to, I don't know. I think I overthought it at first. I wanted to do something like totally different and like, I don't know, whatever. But I overthought it, and I was just like, everything I kept putting on it, I was like, I hate this.
You got to do what yours you. I mean, if people are going to, if you in particular are going to raffle something, they want people who want to buy your tickets want to buy stuff that you, it's like a Margaret color, as Grant Jonathan says, Margaret colors.
The Margaret colors.
So people want that. That's why they like your stuff, right? So it'd be different if you did lime green.
Back to on this one, I had to like kind of go back to something that I was comfortable, because I was trying to push the envelope a little bit too much, where I was like, this is not the shit I would do. Like, why am I doing this? Like, so anyways. So yeah, I will be pulling it tomorrow. And let me just say, let's talk about real quick.
So, okay.
Raffles.
What about, or as they say on the internet, waffles?
A waffle. That's an American thing, because Facebook, I think on stateside, will get rid of your posts if it says raffle. Oh my God, knock on wood. I've never had that issue. Mm-hmm. I've never had my shit taken down if it says raffle, so I don't know. But anyways, but yeah, raffles are a lot of work. Like, they are a lot of work. And sometimes, because you're like, if I post it, it's on 2 different platforms, like Insta and Facebook or whatever. And I don't always know what people's
handles are, or names or something.
Names, handles, or whatever they are. So sometimes it's hard. Like, I'm like, I have to inbox 20 million people. And then sometimes people don't even they don't say nothing. And then you just get an
inbox.
No, you get
like a e-transfer or whatever.
Payment. And I'm like, oh shit, where the hell did this come from? Or say if it doesn't work or you don't know to eat like the password. And because yes, I still have a password. Everybody always like, they're like, get with it now and whatever. It's just easier for me to do that. Like
to keep track and everything.
Yeah. So I still haven't moved over to automatic. But yeah, anyways, like I appreciate it, of course, like, doing the whole thing. But there are times where I'm like, oh, do I want to do a raffle? Because I know all the work that's involved and you got to keep track and you have to keep like writing everything down. And it takes hours for me to sit there and then do all the whatever and making sure, because I feel so bad.
Why?
Because there was a few, like, I always put all the names on and I always go through the entire list so everyone can see. So I'm accountable, like, and I put it on and there were a few times where I've missed names or I've had.
Oh, you didn't mark the names on the wheel?
Yeah, like they didn't get entered, but they did pay. So and then I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. Like it happens sometimes. Like you're just going through things, you get whatever distracted. So it's happened. So I've rectified it to say like, well, in the future, if you buy tickets again, I'll give you free, free
tickets for the next one.
Tickets, yeah. And I always reimburse everybody if like, that happens. So anyway, so that's usually the dilemma of those kind of things. Because
so for maybe those people who might be interested in doing a waffle raffle, how many days do you think like it takes to do all the processing, like the administration? Like that's like that first question. How do you balance like time in terms of administration? That would be like an administration thing. How long do you think after you close, can you say, I close on a Monday, I'm going to do it Monday morning and I'm going to do it Monday night? Or you have to have a few days? Like,
it depends. It depends if you're keeping up with it. Like, when I was doing it, oh my God, like not this big set, that other one that I did in the fall, like with the bag and that one was like not what I expected. It like blew up. Like, was a crazy raffle to the point where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to even have enough names on this, like space on the the wheel, because you can only do like 1,000. And I had to start counting like, oh my God, because if you go over 1,000, you can't like you can't put more than 1,000 names
unless you do it old fashioned. You write all the names out and put it in a bag.
I was like, oh no, that's what I'm gonna end up having to do. Like, so I kept counting, and I think I just was under 1,000, so I was able to do the wheel kind of thing. But for something like that, you need like, unless you're doing it every day, like, oh, let me enter a couple of names. I can't do that because I need to know that everything is on there. I'm too anal. Like everything has to be accounted for. I have a whole system. Like highlight, everything. That too, So like depends on how big the raffle is. Like sometimes it could take like a day to process everything. Like today, it took me a couple of hours sitting there, like all afternoon. I was sat and just entered everything, made sure everybody was there, and if there was some that like aren't marked as paid, then I had to go back into the e-transfers and check.
Cross-reference, go out those I's and cross those T's. Now, I noticed that this raffle you had, it seemed to be like open for a longer period.
Yeah, it's just because I didn't have time.
Oh, okay.
Normally, I only do it a week or less.
Okay.
This time it was because like my daughter had a lot of follow-up.
Oh, okay. So you didn't call it right away. Okay.
Yeah, and I had a lot of classes last week, almost like every other night. So I'm like, realistically, I'm not gonna get to this. And then I had to work last weekend or something. So I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna be able to do it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's why I pushed it a little longer for my sanity.
Okay, my next question is, how do you know when a work is finished?
Ooh, I don't know. It's a feeling. No.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Because I have a piece now that I'm doing, and all these little pieces are for like herd, because I need to have little pieces. Some things. It's just like, maybe I'll just put one more bead on. Maybe I'll just do this. Maybe I'll just do that. And then after a while, you look at it and say, it's done. Like, enough is enough. And that's just as much as I need on that. I wouldn't say even good enough, because I hate to think of that way, because it has to be, in my mind, it has to look great for what the intention is. Now, you can do something that has little beadwork on it, but it looks great and it's just exactly what you need. And then you can have things that are full blown like beads all over it, and it's just like, oh, it just needs something else, So I think it's just what it needs, so.
Yeah, that's kind of my process too. But because I like mine to be busy, like
on the busier side, right?
On the busier side, I kind of struggle with that sometimes, because then sometimes I put like that one extra, it tips it over, and you're like, oh, this is a hot mess. And then,
oh, really?
Yeah, and sometimes you have to leave it because it's
it might Well, it depends on what you're beating it on. If you're beating on velvet, sometimes you have to leave it because then it might just leave a dent.
Yeah, so it depends. But yeah, no, that's kind of how I go with it too.
Who made your shirt, by the way? She has a blue shirt on with all kinds of designs. I just asked her who made it.
I think it was Gahui Nasu.
Oh, okay.
This was hers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's nice. I just noticed it.
Loved it.
Okay, so that's how we know that it's finished. And I also know when it's finished when I want it to get the hell out of my house. I'm like, I'm done. Get out of here. Pick it up, or can I drop it off or whatever. What is the biggest challenge of being an artist? I say time. It seems like time is my biggest challenge. Time is the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah, time. It is.
That's time. Yeah. And here we go. What is the biggest mistake you have made within your career at this point? I guess as an artist, I'm assuming, as your artist.
Biggest
mistake. The biggest mistake. What's the biggest mistake I've made? The biggest mistake I've made was not doing this sooner. No. No, I'm going to think about.
I don't know.
The biggest mistake I've made was.
I don't know.
I'm
perfect. No,
I'm perfect. We's perfect. We are perfect.
I don't know.
We are kind and we are beautiful.
You was smart. You was kind.
That is such a good saying from that movie. Just to get off track for one little second, it's so nice. And that little girl is so cute. And then when what's her name? The actress who plays her. I can't remember her name. The one from How to Get Away with Murder. I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah.
When she leaves that little girl, and then that mother is just doing as best she can, but she doesn't know really what the best is. Sometimes you think that poor kid is going to be in for a lot of therapy in her old age. And God, we's kind and we are smart and we are.
I don't know. To get back to, I don't know. I've never. Ask me at 3 a.m. when I can't sleep and you run your whole life through your brain and you're like,
I don't do that myself. I don't do that at all. I fell asleep. I don't. I think it's because I watch TV. I watch something on my phone before I go to sleep. I don't have a chance to think about all this stuff. But I think a lot about that kind of stuff when I'm beading, actually. I do all that kind of self-reflection sometimes when you're just in the zone and just doing that. But the biggest mistake I made within my career at this point was...
I don't know.
I think, oh man.
I mean, is it
maybe if you change the word mistake.
Yeah, is it really a mistake though? Because then
what
you
is
learn
the biggest
from it. I don't know.
Challenge
is it
you've
really
made? What is?
I don't know. Anyways,
what have you learned thus far about your career? What is something important you've learned being an artist so far in your career? What have you learned? I've learned that the only opinion that matters about my artwork and how I feel about it is my own, really. That's what I think. That's one of the most important things I've learned thus far is that my opinion matters the most in that moment when I'm making something because I'm doing it. And if somebody has an opinion later about it, and if say it's somebody who actually ordered it, then I'll fix it. But in that moment, I shouldn't be worried about somebody else. I should only be worried about myself because I am the one who's creating it. So that's what I've learned is that I want my art to really represent myself, and that's really what it is. That's what I've learned.
I don't have an answer for this because I don't think about this shit. I don't know, and it's fucking 7:30 at night.
It's 7:30. Where are your kids?
Where are your children?
7:30 at night. But yeah, so that's the end of the questions.
That's the end. So last little thing, do we want to bring up the pretendians?
Oh, we didn't even talk about the pretendians.
Yeah, we have to wrap this shit up though.
So you have to talk about the pretendians because I am not in the loops. So here I am you try it. Then I talk about all that. That always happens because I don't know. Anyway, so Margaret was saying that there's been an influx of, actually, I think
they've all been there, but it's just social media right now.
No, who's just playing it. We know for many, many years and decades that there's all kinds of crazy shit happening in the world. But now in 2025 and a little bit years everywhere, people are knowing things are going on. So we were just talking about the pretendians and somebody was called out. Is that what you said?
There's been quite a bit
artists or just in general. I mean, there's that one guy who was the inconvenient Indian who called himself out, who realized he did his research and he was and props to you for getting to know your stuff. Like we said, doing your research and finding out that it's not.
I don't know, I hope nobody comes for me, but that's weird. I don't you live your whole life saying that and you never went to check. And now am I gonna get slapped for this? But Like
It could be the
were you
same-
afraid because you were waiting for somebody else to call you,
Or did you
and
not
then
know?
you decided.
Or did you not know at all? I don't know.
Like, yeah, I don't get that. Like, to me, I just thought it was very like, how convenient. Now that everybody's that's
How convenient for the inconvenient Indian out there.
and yeah. Anyways, don't come for me. But
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the whole story. I just saw whatever was on the social media.
Me
So don't come
too,
for me.
so-
I'm just like, saying whatever. But and it's interesting because I think all my sons have read that book. And they
think
said it
I've
was a
read
good
it.
book.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah,
think I might
but
have
no, there's been a lot. There's been like, I don't want to name drop either.
Yeah, because we don't really know
No,
lots. But
yeah, I don't want no lawsuits on me.
so what has been coming down?
But like major people who have like models, there've been like, there was one right now that was
Oh, I heard
all
about
over
that.
the place. Yeah,
I heard about that one. I heard about that just this week, and I didn't even just
and it's like everybody says it, and all the comments when you read it, like when you are from a community, for us, it's not a big deal for us to be questioned who you are.
Oh no.
Like that's
Who's your mother? Who's your father? As they say here in
we
Ganawaga.
always do that. Like that's a form of how everybody listening who lives on a res knows that's what we do. Like, so it's hard. It is like, I see that, like that annoyance or that anger, like then just answer the question, like for a lot of the people who are
to justify who you are, kind of thing, or
Yeah,
to just like acknowledge who you are.
Yeah, like I don't know. Not that I'm invested in any of it. I just keep seeing it everywhere. So I'm like, oh, I go to the comment section, like, oh, what's going on here? Like, anyways. But that's the biggest thing is that a lot of people get really annoyed. Is that like,
Or offended? You mean?
no? Well, people
No.
are getting annoyed. Like, how come you're not just saying who you are?
Oh, people are getting annoyed with the person who's being quote unquote called out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're not, they're not saying who they are or whatever. And
That's kind of shady.
well, that's
A shady part of it, right? Like
Yeah.
if you,
some aren't doing it, and then some are, but then when they do, people that they claim to be part of don't claim them back, kind of thing, or don't know who they are, or
yikes.
so. But then there was also some touchy things too, which I totally agree with, and I think that's in a whole different context, and I can't really speak for that because I don't know much on that, but it's like there's a difference. There's like a total difference between pretendians, people who are not Ungwehue,
Who are pretending.
yes, to be Ungwehue when they are not,
Yeah.
and then people who are displaced or who have been
Or who don't live in community. That's what they say.
yes,
who aren't from community or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
so
what they use,
to me that's different.
Yeah.
That's completely different. That's and that's like it's very touchy because there's so many circumstances as to why people are not in community, and that's everybody's own individual things. So that's that I wouldn't really.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the pretendian shit, I don't know. I was just like, yeah, some of it's frustrating. Like, I don't know.
Like we said, like we're just so cool and awesome that people just want to be Ungwehue and do
Who just wanna be-
do Ungwehue things. And there's that town or that country or wherever in Europe where they're all dressed as Ungwehue people, or they live and they do things and they know how to do Ungwehue stuff. That's so wild. I can't remember what a place. Somebody's gonna say, "Oh, hey, Ganardunta." I just call myself all week at school. I call myself Ganardunta. And they're like, "Hey, Lee,
Well, that is who you are.
That is who I am." But yeah, so yeah, but there is some kind of town or something somewhere in Europe, and there's my ignorance there again because of course I don't. That's not my forte of knowledge. But there's places that have these people, Europeans who dress and act and move up. I'm not sure if they move about all the time, but they have places that they do like Ungwehue stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate to say, somebody told me before that it's pretty darn good too. Some of their work, some of their pretend artistry or their whatever they do. That's what they said, but I don't know. I've never seen them. I never met them. But yeah, so it's like interesting to see.
I don't know. The whole thing is annoying.
Maybe they're just enamored with the majesty and all that kind of jazz. Oh, God, imagine oh goodness, if we talk like that. There's some people who talk like that, but that's not me.
No.
I mean, I don't think we're so. What do you call that? What do we say when we're
The wind beneath my wings?
Yeah,
No,
we're not into that. And we
not
are
at
not
all.
talking about Bette Midler. We're talking about people who have the sing song. We're not those kind of birds. That's the two of us. We are just like
yeah. So there's
black crows on the telephone wires, waiting to hear what's the next latest thing.
yeah. But anyways, that's that was the tea. I've been seeing a lot of like The rise and fall of the pretendians.
I have a question, just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
When you're at the store, do people bring stuff like this up to you? Like, is that like some of like the hot topics around like the sales counter?
All kinds of shit at the store. Like, depends what angle, which people are coming in, who's talking to me. Like,
Oh, okay.
I get questioned all the time if I'm if I'm and like
At
if
the store?
Well, yeah, like if they're not
From town.
from town, they don't know who I am or whatever. So,
And do you get annoyed with that?
it depends on the delivery
Okay.
or the, like it depends on it. Like I've had some people where I just want to slap them upside the head. Like it's ignorance, I guess, but it's more like because I don't look ungwehue, like I'm not stereotype, whatever, not stereotype. I just don't look you know what I mean? I'm blonde, I'm light.
The typical, as they say, the typical, like.
So, but
what is typical? Anyway.
yeah, but people will come in and it's like, oh well, it's all in the delivery, because sometimes people will be like, you're from here, like that kind of thing, like almost like
get out of my store then.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah, I hear
they
ya.
kind of give you that attitude, like they want me to do a DNA test like then and there type of thing.
Or
Like
they're like, say, do the rain dance and make it rain.
like those kind of things piss me off. But I don't know. Other than some people will just be like, "Oh, are you from the community?" And like, "Yeah, I am." Like,
Yeah,
and
just like a question, not necessarily integration.
There's no judgment involved or whatever. So, but I've done it too. Like I do it too. I can't say it. Sometimes I forget what I look like. We've all been raised in this community where sometimes I forget that I look a certain way as well. Where I'm like, oh yeah, that person don't look ungwehue. I'm like, oh yeah, we neither do I. So I'm like, we all do it. I don't know. So it is what it is. But yeah, we always get all kinds of shit going on at the store.
Interesting.
Juicy gossip.
And thankfully, Margaret is not a teller of juicy. Not on the podcast anyway.
Yeah,
Not to our listening audience. No. With that being said, I think, do you have anything else to add there, Mrs. Stand Up?
No.
Now. So, I forgot to say that the application for the Indigenous Artists in Residence at the University of Western Ontario the deadline is this coming January 2026. If anybody has listened in the past year and a half, you know that I was the artist in residence, Indigenous artist in residence there. It was a lovely experience. Check out the website at the Visual Arts Department at the UWO, University of Western Ontario in London, Ontario, if you are interested in partaking in that. So hopefully the podcast will be out before the deadline and you can maybe do that if you're so inclined. With that being said, I'd like to bring this 2025 podcast Beading Table session to an end, and we will be back hopefully more awake after Margaret's wonderful gallivanting over in America in January, and we will have our first episode of our fourth year 2020. I think we did 2024 2022 we started 2022 we started. So yeah, the beginning of our fourth season of the Beading Podcast, episode 001. So with that being said, Nyawako, everybody, for listening. Have a wonderful, whatever it is you celebrate. If you celebrate, if you don't, have a wonderful evening, day, whatever it is. And Nyawako for listening.
Goodbye.
The views and opinions of the guests expressed in this podcast do not reflect those of Redeewase and its employees.